More myths that you might actually believe about World War II. Myth number 1. The Army fought in the European theater, but the Marines were the only US troops fighting in the Pacific. While it's true that the Marines didn't see action in the European theater, US Army soldiers actually did a lot of fighting in the Pacific. The reason some people think of the Marines as the only ones in the Pacific are because, unlike the Army, they weren't split across two fronts, they were only in the Pacific, and also a lot of the times they were the ones handling initial assaults and invasions that are more famous and more talked about. But that's not always the case either. The Marines did a ton of fighting in the Pacific, and I'm not trying to discredit that. Just remember that the Army was there as well, and they also saw a lot of action. Myth number 2. The notch put on dog tags used in World War II was put there so they could be shoved between a dead soldier's teeth to keep the tags with the body. In reality, that notch was just meant to help position the dog tags in a little handheld machine that was used to transfer a dead soldier's information onto paper when the Graves registration people came by to record the death and collect the body. Myth number 3. Most US soldiers in World War II were issued a sidearm. Handguns were mostly just issued to officers and people with a specific job where they wouldn't carry a rifle. Somebody like a radio operator, or maybe somebody helping operate a machine gun or bazooka. At least that's the way it was supposed to be on paper. Reality is obviously different. A lot of soldiers ended up acquiring handguns in different ways, and in particular, paratroopers seem to have a way of getting their hands on sidearms. Some soldiers overseas even received care packages from their loved ones back home with civilian weapons like revolvers that they could use in battle.